Good morning, and for those of you who don't know, I'm about to build a new PC, and when you build a new PC, the first thing you want to do once you get it all built is put an operating system on there, and the operating system I'm going to use on this one is Windows 10. Now, it's really easy to get hold of Windows 10, and you don't actually need to spend any money, and it'll actually run without you buying a key. But you can then obviously go off and buy a key, and then you'll get it all up and running with the full set of options and so on and so forth, because there's a few things that won't work properly until you get a key installed. But in order to just get it installed and get it up and running, you just need to go to Microsoft's website and download the Windows Installation Media Creation Tool. So let's go and do that now. There you go, Windows 10 Media Creation Tool, that's what we want. And I will put a link into this, but obviously if you don't like clicking links, you can just go and do a search like I'm doing here, and that will get you to this page. And as you can see here, it says download Windows 10 disk image ISO file Microsoft, and you can see it says Microsoft.com. That's the one you want. You don't want to be going to any other sites. Get it from the source, or the horse's mouth, as it were. Get it from the right place and you'll be safe. So anyway, let's click on that. And that takes us to this page. And as you can see here, there's two options. It says Windows 10 November 2019 update. You might see a different update because you might be looking at this later down the line. But for now, it's Windows 10 2019 update. It says update that now. Now, you don't need that because obviously that is to update the computer that you're currently on. And that's not what we're doing here. What you want is the second option. Create Windows 10 installation media. So you would click on that and download the tool now. So we'll do that. And as you can see, it's already downloaded. It downloads really quickly because it's just a little tool that allows you to start the setup. So I'm just going to go to my desktop now and we can carry on because I've actually downloaded it to my desktop. So just bear with me and we'll go to the desktop. Right, and as you can see, we're now at the desktop, and in the middle of the desktop, you can see me moving it around, we have Media Creation Tool 1909.exe. Now, the number on yours might be different because obviously they may have updated it by then, but it will basically be the same thing. The other thing is you can download it to anywhere you like, but keep a record of where you've downloaded it to because you can't run it if you don't know where it is. So I've downloaded it to the desktop because basically it's really easy, and once you're finished with it, you can just delete it. The other thing you're going to need, obviously, is a USB thumb drive. And if I go into File Explorer and all the way down here, we will see ESD USB F. If I click on that, you'll see it's empty. If I right-click on it and select Properties, you'll see it says 14.9 gigabytes. It's actually a 16 gig USB thumb drive, and Windows or Microsoft say that it has to be at least 8 gig. Now I'm using a slightly bigger one because I had that one lying around, and the other reason for using a bigger one is that once you've actually created the install drive, you can actually put other files on there as well. So what I usually do is I create the USB install drive, and then after I've done that, I'll put things like drivers for the motherboard, drivers for the graphics card, and some utilities and stuff like that on there. So it just makes it a bit easier. I can install Windows and then I've got all the other stuff I need on the USB drive as well. So you may want to do that. If you do, you're going to want a slightly bigger drive, but the minimum you will need will be 8 gig. So anyway, now we're into that. We can close that down and double click the Media Creation Tool 1909. So I'm going to double click on that. And it'll ask me, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? And it's from Microsoft, so it should be safe. So we click yes. And it says getting a few things ready. And this will take about a minute, I think it takes. And then once that's done, we should be ready to continue. Right, and now it says applicable notices and license terms. And you have to go through this and read every word 3 or 4 times to make sure that you know exactly what you're accepting. Because we all do that, don't we? No, basically you just have to accept this. If you don't accept it, you won't be able to install the data onto the USB drive, and then you won't be able to install it onto Windows. So we just accept that. And then it says getting a few things ready again. So it's getting a few more things ready. And again, this will take about a minute. Right, and now we're there. It says, what do you want to do? Upgrade this PC now. Well, no, we're not upgrading this PC. We're actually creating a USB drive that we can install Windows from. So we want the second option. Create installation media, USB flash drive, DVD or ISO file for another PC. So select that and click next. And then it will bring us to this page. It says select language, architecture and edition. And as you can see here, these are all grayed out because basically the settings here are the settings that I've got on my current PC. So if you're going to do it for a different PC, you may want different settings. And in that case, you want to uncheck this check mark. And then you can change the language. And I'm going to leave it set on English United Kingdom because I'm in England. And then Windows 10, I think there's only one option here. Yeah, you might see there's different options, but basically we want Windows 10 and that's the only option at the moment. And then architecture, we've got 64-bit, 32-bit, or both. Now, I'm going to select 64-bit because I only want to install the 64-bit version of Windows. But if you select both, it'll put both the 64-bit version and the 32-bit version on the USB stick. And then when you go to install Windows, it'll ask you which version you want to install. So if you're not sure, select both. If you're certain, select 64-bit or 32-bit. Obviously, most modern PCs will use 64-bit. So I'm selecting 64-bit and then I click Next. Then it says choose which media to use. And it says USB flash drive or ISO file. Now, obviously, I'm not creating an ISO file that I want to burn to DVD because I'm not going to be installing this from a DVD drive. I'm going to be installing it from USB flash. And I would think that most people will. So that's the one you would normally select, USB flash drive. And as I said before, it says here, it needs to be at least 8 gig. So make sure that it's an 8 gig USB drive and you should be fine. And then click Next. And then it says select a USB flash drive. Now this might look slightly different for you because you may have a couple of USB flash drives plugged into your computer. In my case, I've got a Seagate Backup Plus drive, which is a 4 gig. I think it's a 4 gig drive. Might be an 8 gig drive actually. Yeah, it's an 8 gig drive. I've got an 8 gig drive plugged in. And I've also got my USB drive that I want to put the Windows install files on. So I would select this one. Now, you have to make sure that you select the correct USB drive, because if you select the wrong one, you're going to wipe all the files off that drive. So if, for instance, I selected the Seagate here, I'm using this one to store ROMs and emulator stuff. So anything that was on there, all my ROMs and emulators would be deleted. And that wouldn't be a good thing. So make sure you select the right drive. And the easiest way to do that would be to unplug any USB drives that you're not sure about and you don't want to delete. So unplug everything else and just plug in the USB flash drive that you want to use. And then click Next. And then it will start the download process. Now this will take a little while, so just bear with me and we'll be back when it's finished. Right, and as you can see, we've nearly downloaded now. So once it's finished downloading, it's actually going to start the process of transferring the files across to the USB key. So just watch as it changes over. There you go, verifying download, that's what it's doing. And creating Windows 10 media. So now it's in the process of actually sending the files to the USB key and setting it up ready so that you can use it to install to your new PC. So again, just bear with me while it does this because it's going to take a little while. Right, and as you can see, the USB flash drive is now saying that it's ready and it says it's F. So all you've got to do is click Finish and you're pretty much done. So we'll do that now. And it says this may take a few minutes and then finishes pretty much straight away. So if we now go into File Explorer and down to ESD USB-F, now obviously your USB drive might be called something different, you can see that all the files are now on there. And if we go into Properties, it'll show that we've actually got used space 3.99 gig. Don't take that for granted, though, that you can use a smaller drive, because you'll still need to have an 8 gig drive. It's to do with the way the files are transferred and so on and so forth, as I understand it. So you will need an 8 gig drive. What you can do, though, if like me, you've got a drive with more space on it, you can actually move, some drivers and stuff like that across, as I said before. So anyway, that's that pretty much done. Let's OK that. All you'll need to do is now, if you go in and you right click and you do eject, and it disappears, and now you can take the USB drive out of your PC and it's all ready to go. So as I say, I hope that one was useful. If it was, let me know in the comments and give us a thumbs up and all the rest of it. And I'll speak to you guys in the next one. Bye.